SmileDog is one of the most terrifying cryptids to ever grace the internet. And although it may not be as popular as it once was, this unsettling creature still sends chills down the spines of anyone who hears its haunting bark or sees its grotesque face. Before we get into the story of this cursed canine, we want to give you a warning that this video contains some disturbing images and themes. Regardless of what form it takes, the mere mention of SmileDog is enough to raise goosebumps on your arms. Back in the early days of the internet, long before social media was a thing people used to exchange scary stories through email chains. The caption read, "Do not open this image." Of course, this warning only made people more curious, and soon the internet was flooded with requests from people who wanted to see the infamous photo and the strange things that happened as a result. In one video, he claimed that he had received a package in the mail that contained a dog collar with a strange symbol on it. He said that he could feel an evil presence emanating from the collar, and he was afraid to touch it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. He eventually took it to a local priest who told him that it was cursed. The priest tried to perform an exorcism, but it didn't work and the collar eventually disappeared. Marble Hornets also claimed that he had seen SmileDog in person on several occasions, but it always seemed to disappear before he could get a good look at it. He said that the last time he saw the dog, it had a human-like face with sharp teeth and glowing red eyes. Some said it looked like an ordinary golden retriever, except for its eyes and its smile. After all, it would be pretty crazy if a scientist really created a monster that looked like a dog and then it just sort of wandered off and became a mythical internet creature. Well, there's no evidence that any of this actually happened. In fact, we couldn't find much evidence that marble hornets even existed. There is a good chance that the whole thing was just a hoax designed to get people talking about SmileDog. But whether it's real or fake, the story is still scary and it's definitely had an impact on internet culture. Others said the dog seemed to stare directly at you as you looked at the picture, as if it were reaching out to you beyond the confines of the computer screen. There are hundreds of stories about this creature, but none of them offer a definitive origin point. This lack of concrete backstory makes the creature even more terrifying because we were left wondering if it could be real. If it is real, then we should probably be on the lookout for a weird dog-like creature with sharp teeth and bloodshot eyes. Second, let us consider the fact that SmileDog seems to appear in different forms depending on who has seen it. Some people see a relatively normal dog, while others see a massive beast. This could be explained by the fact that SmileDog is a shapeshifter, which would make sense considering its origins as a synthetic being. Speaking of origins, let's go back to the idea that SmileDog was created in a lab. This raises some serious ethical questions about playing God and messing with things we don't understand. If we're not careful, we could unleash something truly evil into the world. And maybe that's what happened with SmileDog. Maybe the scientists who created it didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Finally, let's think about the fact that SmileDog seems to haunt the internet. Whether you believe Marble Hornet's story or not, there's no denying that the legend of SmileDog continues to thrive online. This could be because the internet is a dark and lonely place, and we were always looking for a good scare. Or maybe it's because we're so fascinated by the unknown. Whatever the reason, SmileDog has become one of the most enduring cryptids of our time, and it shows no signs of disappearing anytime soon. As more and more people shared the image, a story began to form around it. People started talking about how the dog had been spotted in various places around the world, always accompanied by a heavy fog and an unsettling silence. They also said that whoever saw the dog was doomed to die within 7 days. Naturally, people who received the image in their email chains tried to destroy it. Some burned the photos, while others threw their computers out the window. But no matter what they did, the image kept coming back, as if it were some kind of demonic parasite that had attached itself to their devices. The legend grew until it reached a fever pitch. And then just as suddenly, it disappeared. These stories often contained images meant to heighten the scares, but sometimes these images were more disturbing than necessary. Then in 2003, a user on the Something Awful forums decided to take matters into his own hands. Going by the name Marble Hornets, the user claimed that he had tracked down the source of the SmileDog images, and he intended to find out the truth behind the story. According to Marble Hornets, SmileDog was the result of a botched experiment conducted by a group of scientists. They had created a synthetic being using parts from dead animals, but it turned on its creators and escaped into the world. Now it roams the earth looking for new victims. Marble Hornets also claimed that he had managed to obtain one of the original SmileDog photos and posted it online for everyone to see. Unfortunately, he said that viewing the image would bring bad luck, but of course people couldn't resist. Within hours, the image had spread around the world, and people began dying in mysterious circumstances. Marble Hornets quickly deleted the post and begged people to forget he ever shared it, but it was too late. The internet had taken on a life of its own, and the legend of SmileDog continued to grow. That is when moderators of certain platforms began implementing tags such as "Do Not Open" or "Do Not View." These tags were meant to warn users that the images contained within the message were too graphic for the platform and might be disturbing to viewers. But the images were simply bloody or gory, but in other cases, they contained something even more frightening, but they all have slightly different details. Creatures that didn't belong in our reality. Warnings only: there doesn't seem to be any concrete origin point for this terrifying tale. Added from, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you love all things paranormal. Let's jump into it. Users began receiving emails containing a photo of a dog with a wide grin and bloodshot eyes. And he went on to create a series of videos that documented his encounters with SmileDog, ordinary dog with. Let's take a moment to discuss the possibility that any of this is real. What do you think? Is SmileDog real or just a figment of our collective imagination? Let us know in the comments below. Disturbing grin to a massive beast with razor-sharp teeth and dripping saliva. I'm your host, and this is the terrifying true origin of SmileDog. Fuel to the fire, and internet users couldn't resist seeing what was so bad that it would receive a warning. In many cases, and one of the most famous of these creatures was SmileDog. But unlike other creepypastas like Jeff the Killer, there are hundreds of stories about SmileDog. So which one is the real story? We might never know for sure. But there are a few that stand out above the rest. And today we're going to share the most popular origin story about SmileDog. It's sad, it's unnerving, and it could explain why this creature haunts the darkest corners of the internet. Viewer discretion is advised for those under the age of 13. Hi, SmileDog has appeared in many forms throughout its time online. Before we get started, no one knew where the story came from or why it had stopped. In the late 90s, for years. But Marble Hornets wasn't done just yet. Now, so what does this all mean? Well, first off, let's talk about the fact that no one knows where SmileDog came from. Thanks for watching.